Ask me a question.
Well, we're back with Richard Burdick, exploring his life, and this is episode 5. And so we talked earlier about your dad and your uncle. You went to Washington D.C. to the
Yes.
Federal Reserve, and you got 2 bags of silver dollars, and it turned out they were all 1923 peace dollars. And you have a couple of them still here, but I assume you took the rest of them back to the bank.
Well, before that, um, I saved about 200 of the 2,000 pieces. I saved about 200 of them, and the rest we took back to the bank just to recycle the money. So, about sometime in 1966, my mother had gone to the dentist, and she got a bill in the mail for $66. And she asked, my dad had been sick in the hospital for some time. She asked me if I could, she knew I had all these silver dollars. We kept them in paint cans, and about 50 or 100 in each paint can, because they're heavy to lift. I kept them under the ping pong table downstairs. So anyway, my mother asked if I'd go down and pay her dentist bill. It was $66. So I filled my pockets full of 23 piece dollars, rode my bike about 5 blocks, went in and told the receptionist I was here to pay my mother's dental bill, and I got all these silver dollars on her desk. So she called the dentist out there, and he was amazed. Where'd you get these silver dollars? And I said, well, my dad and I, we got quite a few of them. And he says, you're going to pay me with silver dollars? I said, yeah, here's 66 pieces. So he says, have you got more of these? And I said, well, yeah, I've got a few more. And he said, well, can I buy them from you? And I thought, well, I don't really want to sell, but I'll sell you a couple of rolls. And he said, well, how much are they? I said, they're $1.50 a piece. So I rode home, got 2 more rolls, put each roll in each pocket of my jeans, went back down there, and he paid me $1.50 a piece. And as time went by, I started getting $2 a piece for these coins. And I eventually got down to like 10 or 20 coins. And today, I still have 3 of those coins. We looked at 2 of them, and this is the third one. I wanted to give this to Andy as a present. I only need 2, so I got obverse and reverse.
Well, thank you, Richard.
You can put that in your coin collection.
Excellent. I'll put it with my first coins.
You still got some of those too.
I do. I do have the first 2 coins I ever bought.
Well, that's kind of what I did too. Here's another one I was going to give you: the Battle Creek Centennial. That I got that 1959 was the 100-year. I think 100-year. No, it was over 100 years because that.
125 years.
Yes. Battle Creek, there's a reason this place is called Battle Creek, is because sometime in the 1820s, some settlers, well, actually they were surveyors, had a skirmish with some Indians, and it was on where the Battle Creek River meets the Kalamazoo River, and that's why they named the city Battle Creek, because of the fight between the Indians and the surveyors. So settle, that was in 1831 is got something to do with that. But I got those tokens, I think, in 1959, so it was 125 years, whatever. But I wanted Andy to have one of those too. I've only got 2 left, and they're in that case. They're both red, gem red unks. I saved over the years. I kept saving the best ones because you get more knowledgeable as time goes on. You learn, and that's what you've got to do in numismatics. I was I studied coins.
So when you graduated from high school, now you said you graduated at 17 years old. Did you become a full-time coin dealer at that
just
time?
Part-time. I worked a construction job for a number of years, and I saved my money and saved my money. I always bought rare coins. Actually, going back to like 1966, um, I was really still in love with proof coins, and you could get them earlier. So I started buying stacks. New York City, they would run big double page ads of all of their inventory. And they had proof barber dimes, and they were only $45, $50 a piece. And I told him, I said, no, I don't want cleaned coins. I want gemmy toned coins, which they didn't understand why. White dipped coins were in vogue back at that time, and most people didn't want toned coins. They'd dip them as soon as they'd get them. So I kept collecting those proof barber dimes, and I finished that set 1971. I think it was in 1970. I became a member of the American Numismatic Association about that time.
It was a little harder than just sending in an application at that time, wasn't it?
You had to have a sponsor, and I can't remember who that sponsor was, but the following year, John Pittman, a very famous collector from Rochester, New York, he had taken a liking to me because I like proof sets, proof coins, and he had one of the greatest collection of proof coins to ever put together. And him and I became friends and became one of my early mentors. And you really need that. If you really want to get deep into this hobby, you need to read a lot, you have to see a lot of coins, and if you have a knowledgeable mentor, that makes a huge difference. So,
do you have any of those proof dimes left?
no,
It's another story for another time, I'm sure.
it's a good one too, real good one. So let's see. I bought some other coins in 1966. Here's one of the greatest coins I ever owned. I bought it down at McCoy's Stamp and Coin Shop in Battle Creek, Michigan. It's like 3 or 4 miles from where I live. This place was not very clean. And there was cases, these curved glass cases, and the coins were just stacked up in the old type holders. And I walked in there, and it must be 6 high of these old holders. And there was a set of, well, actually, the one on top, there was only one coin. There's only one coin in that set. There was only one coin in that holder, and I bought it. A 1926 Oregon Trail. So there's some blow-up pictures of it. And I fell in love with that coin. There's some blow-up pictures of it. I paid $12. They wanted $12 for that coin.
Wow. Was that a lot of money at that time for the commemorative?
Well, no, I bought other coins for more than $12, but I was really drawn to this coin because it was, at that time, it was the prettiest coin of any kind I've ever seen. I had some nice barber dimes, but this is just a mind-blowing, beautiful coin. And I made a, several years later, I had a Capital Plastics made me a custom plastic holder, 3x3, and I put that coin in there, put it in a box, and I would look at it every once in a while. So by the time the 1970s came along, that was down. It was down at like the bottom of the safety deposit box, and I kept just stacking stuff up in there, and I forgot about this coin till maybe 30 years later. I was changing safety deposit boxes, so I'd taken everything out, and I ran into that coin, and I had forgotten how beautiful it was, and it was still exactly this way. It hadn't changed any. Some coins do, but today that's one of my all-time favorite coins. And commemorative $50 that have this type of extraordinary toning on them you well know that today are bringing extraordinary prices. Now, I've never wanted to sell that coin. It's the last of my old coins. It's my all-time favorite up until the later, early 1970s. I started buying some much earlier.
Didn't this inspire you to buy more Oregon Trails and Oregon Trail memorabilia?
I figured this, and I learned this from Walter Breen. If you've got a coin and it's the best you've ever seen, and you show it to other people and they tell you the same thing, you've got the best, forget the rest. I learned that from Walter Breen, who was one of the all-time greatest numismatic scholars ever lived in this country. But what I did do, commemorative halves were very cheap. They didn't cost that much. And I started slowly building a set of them. But going back a ways, I need to go back to the mid-1960s. I walked into a coin shop, and this guy was named Bill Shawman. He had one of the three coin shops. And his in-laws lived in Chicago, and they'd given him some coins. Actually, they had bought him a metal detector, and he put it together in their house in Chicago. He went out on the front steps and turned it on. He got a really high reading. It was underneath the wooden steps. So he got a crowbar and a hammer, and found there was a coffee can there that was over half full of coins. And there was beautiful gem uncirculated 1917 Type 1 quarters, which I bought from him for $15 and later sold it in 1980 for $4,000. It was a wonderful coin. And another coin that came out of there was a beautiful 1883 no-cents nickel. There again, that was about $12. I saved that coin till in 1988, when they were slabbing coins, I sent it in, along with some other coins, and that coin, the nickel, graded 67, which was, at that time, very hard to get a grade that high in any coin. So in 1989 came along, the prices of rare coins started to go up dramatically. And by 1980, the prices had gone up astronomically compared to what I remember, 10 years later, 15 years later, earlier. So I took that coin. I was going to the Long Beach Coin Show in like February of 1980. I took that 83 nickel with me that I paid, I think, $15 for. And I walked around the floor. I actually took a number of other coins. I was going to sell some of this stuff. I kept my best coins. I wasn't going to sell those. I'll get to that later, some of the other coins I started buying. So a dealer by the name of Kevin Lipton came up to me, and he was one of the up-and-coming dealers. In fact, he was already quite famous at that time. He heard that I was selling coins, so he said, "Come over to my table. I want to see what you got." So I went through there, and he bought 8 or 9 coins from me, and he needed coins so fast, he'd pay you pretty darn good money for them. Well, I got back down to that 1883 no-cents nickel, and it was hard to tell what some of these coins were worth because they were literally going up every week or month in value, 5-10%. And so he asked me what I wanted for that nickel. And I told him I wanted $7,500 for it. And he looked at me, he says, "I'll give you $7,200. Okay. I sold it to him for $7,200. Now, I don't know what a 67 is worth today, but I don't think it's anywhere near $7,200. But going back to proof sets, I put together that set of proof barber dimes, and most of these I ordered from Stacks. And I was talking with Harvey Stack and Ben Stack on the phone. I'd never met them. But every once in a while in their ad, they'd say gem proof, iridescent toning, blue, gunmetal toning. They'd have short descriptions. But it was a gem they would have in double bold black print. And they didn't use that term gem that often. Well, in 1965, my first coin I ever bought from them was a 1867 seated $50. They said, beautiful lilac toning. Gem-proof, beautiful lilac toning. And I got this coin in the mail. It was just stunning, this violet toning, and it got closer to silver in the centers. I was so proud of this coin, I took it down to Bill Shawman's coin shop and showed it to him. He says, "Well, here, let me." He said, "I'm going to show you what a coin looks like." So he went over to the shop. He dipped the coin in some kind of a coin cleaner. He brought it back. He's rubbing it with a towel. After he rinsed the dip off, and he says, "This is the way that it's supposed to look." And I said, "Why did you do that to my coin?" He says, "Well, this is the way everybody wants them." And I said, "I want them the other way." And the coin's now, he's wearing it with a terry cloth, hairlines all over it. And I paid $150 for this coin. That was a very strong price for that coin at the time. Most of them you could buy for $110 to $120. But I had $150 for that one. Well, he ruined my coin. And I said, at the next coin show, I sold it for $110. I just want to get rid of it and learn a lesson. Don't ever give him a good coin again. Don't even show it to him. So I was, the Barber Dimes, I didn't complete that set. The last one I couldn't get a beautiful toned coin. It was a 1905. It was the only hole I left. I had a capital plastic holder made for these things. That 1905 was bugging me. I was calling other dealers, David Bowers, Ruddy, several others. I can't remember the name. And I was, picking these coins, and they'd help me put the set together. But I went to the first PNG show. It was in Chicago, downtown Chicago. And I walk in there, and here's Catherine Bolowa from Philadelphia. And I'm looking at her coins, and here's a 1905 gem Barber dime. And when I first started collecting those, I was paying $45, $50 a piece. And as time going by, they increased in price. And I thought to my mind, one that nice, I'm going to have to pay at least $80 or $90 for that coin. And she said, "I want $110 for that coin." And I said, "But Mrs. Bull, I bought all these I had the set with me." I said, "I've never paid over $90 for one of those coins, one of these Barber Dimes." She said, "Well, this one's going to cost you $110. So I bought it from her. And in the hotel room, I took the screws out, I put it in, and now my set's complete. But this whole time, since I bought this Oregon Trail, I started buying, I want to build a typeset of proof coins starting from half cents through silver dollars.
How were you paying for all this? Was this just from working construction?
Yeah,
or was this,
yeah, I was.
Were you married at the time? Did you have kids?
No. Well, actually, I did get married in 1968. But I was only married for a couple of years. And fortunately, she didn't want any of the coins in the divorce. So anyways, the two coins by 1969, the two most difficult coins is a nice proof half cent and a large cent. Now, these are rare coins. And I found a presentable 1856 half cent. But I was finding the most difficult coin was a proof large cent. And they're pretty rare, and I found a couple, but they'd been cleaned.
All right. Well, we're gonna continue with that story in our next episode then.